the person that absolutely has the authority to make those decisions.
Eric, do you mind if I add just a point?
Certainly.
If I heard the question correctly, you're referring to the spit itself? Because that's what circles around the docks. On the inside of the boat docks, there is a small bump of land. Right, okay, all right, thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, so it seems that unfortunately we've been having some technical difficulties with the video streaming. I'm not sure if that got resolved yet, but apparently it has, so welcome back to our viewing audience. And we're ready, I think, for the next item on the agenda, and that would be Measure 2, the roads special assessment. And this would be a special assessment of $10 per month. I'm sorry, $14 a month for 10 years. And it would include the resurfacing of the roads and the replacement of the Western Lane Bridge over by Gate 13. And the initial funding for this work, if the assessment passes, is to be obtained in 2018 through a board-approved loan of $1,700,000 and repaid through the special assessment. This is measure number 2, and we have a board member who has spent his life experience in not only he started out in the Marine Corps along with Mr. Sears Taylor and myself and a few other people that are here most meetings, but he spent his life working on roads, building roads and building dams. And so I'm going to let Mike virtually attend since we have virtual capabilities again. He's, again, babysitting his grandchildren this weekend and couldn't be here, but he can be here virtually. So, Ashley, do you have that?
How did I get here? I've been working construction, or I had 2008 when I fired. I was made to lose my job, but since I was about 16, a few years in the service, but for the most part, I work construction, heavy and highway. It's called the East Coast. I'm not sure what it's called out here, but that means that we build roads, bridges, dams, but I don't do any buildings. We would backfill buildings as far as putting them up. And I know that Sears just asked about microsurfacing, but before we moved here in 2005, I worked for a company called Gorman Brothers out of Albany, New York. Claim to fame is that they're a pavement preventative maintenance company, and that's where I learned about microsurfacing, slurry seals, chip seals with and without polymers, double chip seals, South African coats, all kinds of things. Basically what they do, what most of anybody that's in this business does, is that you take a good road, and because a good road, if you look at a graph, a good road will go from, this is the start point. A good road, then it goes precipitously down. And once it gets to this point, as Sears said, then well, I hope we're not going back to clay. I hope clay's not under there, but if it is, you have to catch it before it gets to that point, and it's way cheaper if you catch it at this point than if you catch it at this point. This point, if you're going to do it, means that we have to do one of two things. You have to do a full overlay, 1 or 2 inches of a hot mix, or you have to, as we've done with some of our roads, you have to dig them up, make sure that they drain out to the ditches, and start over. Put a foot in at sub-base, make sure that you're crowned correctly, etc., etc. If you catch them up here, you can do a chip seal, which oil and stone, everybody knows that, chip seal, tar and stone. Remember when you were a kid, you used to go out when they were doing them on your road, the little bubbles would be up there, and you step on them and then track them all the way through the house. You love it. Anyway, chip seal used to be the only thing anybody used. In Europe, they were using microsurfacing slurry seals for a long time because of the fact that most of their roads are not near a hot mix plant. To get hot mix to your road, you have to be pretty close to it so that it stays hot. Chip seals, slurry seals, and microsurfacing. Microsurfacing is a double layer of the slurry seal, and it has a polymer. What does it do? Actually, it's an emulsion with an aggregate. And the aggregate in chips are in microsurfacing is a 1/4 inch minus. It's been cracked and broken so that it's got a lot of edges, a lot of little spaces that it can grab on to the emulsion. Now, if it puts out in the back into a slurry box, going down the road, it comes out wet, it comes out cold, and it just goes down the road, and after an hour, the water starts evaporating, comes out of it, the tar, the emulsion, or the asphalt that's in there, grabs the aggregate, makes it clean to the road. Pretty simple. But it took the United States a long time to get to that point. I don't know. You know, a lot of highway superintendents, if you've ever talked to one, their first statement will always be, we always done it this way. So I'm not going to change it. So it's hard to sway it. But anyway, it's a relatively inexpensive remedy to a nice road. It's kind of like if you paint your house periodically, let's give it like 10 years, or you wash it every 2 years. That's what you're doing to your road. You're catching it at a point where it's not deteriorating. You're cleaning it, or you're painting it, you're keeping it in good shape. You do the same thing with your car. You go in, we used to go in every 3,000 miles because you had a little sticker. They used to say, it's time to go in and get your oil changed. Now the oils are synthetic, so now you go 10 or so. But you still do it. Tire, you go in and pump it up. You don't wait for that tire or that car or the oil to deplete itself in your reservoir. It's exactly what we're doing to roads. We are now going to pay attention to maintaining the road. This 10-year assessment of $14 will allow us to do microsurfacing and or chip seal 2 times in that 10-year period. So like Sears said, after about 5 years, you're starting to do that all over again. Then other things you can do is called fog seals. No one here seems to fog seal their driveways, their asphalt driveways. In the coast, it's a business. You go there and you seal it, just like Fred Meyer's, I think about 2 years there. You'll notice they cut off half their parking lot, and then they sealed it. And it's a great thing. It cost, well, this is 12 years ago, but it cost 25 cents a square yard to do that back 12 years ago. I mean, it's crazy not to do. So that's what we're trying to do, and this is with the help of Wilson Engineering, in that our roads, for the most part, are structurally sound. Start doing a program that will allow us to go out 5 years, start over, go out 5 years, that we can save some money in structurally. Because even if you put in an overlay, then you got to start feathering down towards your driveways. As realtors will say, it's location, location, location. Contractors will say when you're building a road, it's drainage, drainage, drainage. The faster you can get that water off the road, the most efficient way to get that water off the road and into the ditches where it's going to take care of itself, the better your roads are going to be. Questions? So,
Susan Weeda. So I've heard comments on social media, and where people are saying that they see the spray paint around to fix a pothole, but that the pothole itself hasn't been fixed yet. And so my question to you, now that Mitch said that this work has been done, the potholes have been fixed, if we apply this micro seal on, you understand where I'm going?
Yeah, but no, the potholes have not been finished. And what he was saying is that the roads that were in such bad shape that we couldn't just chip seal or microsurface over, structurally were unsound, those have been repaired. But the potholes themselves, not all of them have been taken care of.
So the
But you-
potholes will be repaired.
Prior.
before the micro.
Yeah, right. Thank you. Yes, sir.
Andrew Tischletter, quick clarification question. You said if we go with micro seal and or chip seal, have we made a determination exactly on for sure what we are going with then?
You're going on both. There will be some roads that will be chip sealed because they're alligatored a little bit more, and you'll go on, we'll have microsurfacing on other roads. It's just, it depends on the condition of the road. And that's what Wilson's been doing for the past 5 years. They have gone up and down every mile of our 40, 44, 50, 55 miles, depending on, I don't know where the other 15 miles went, but they disappeared. But they went up and down every inch of the road, and they classified the roads. The better roads get a higher grade, just like if you're in school. If you got 100 on your test, you got an A. The better roads get an A. If you got a 60 on your test, you got an F. The bad roads got an F. Those are the ones that have been repaired. But we know which roads they are, but it's just not, I can't say this road is going to get microsurfacing and that road's going to get chip sealed, because you have to be out there to say which one is which. But yeah, it's an either or.
Okay, clarification question. Aren't both of them just preventative maintenance surfacing things?
Absolutely.
So the quality of the road would not, if the roads were deteriorated such that micro seal wouldn't work, then chip seal wouldn't work either, and vice versa. So do we have plans to potentially do then complete overlays in certain sections, combined with micro seal and chip seal?
No, we don't have that in a plan now, because the roads that we've just repaired, that we fixed from the bottom up, as Sear said, from the clay up, those roads have the overlay on them. The roads that we have now, we feel they're Wilson Engineering, when I say we, it's Wilson Engineering. As long as I've been in the business, I'm not truly an engineer. I just think I am when I'm out there. But they're the ones that are telling us that these roads are structurally sound, and that a chip seal and or a microsurfacing will be the better tool to use to prolong the life of that road another 5 to 10 years.
Okay, so we have not totally confirmed whether we are micro sealing and or chip sealing.
Yes, we have. I just don't know which road is which. It's either going to be one or the other. A road that has more alligator in it will get a chip seal. A road that has less alligator in it will get surface.
Okay. Another clarification question. You mentioned in your statement drainage being the most important thing. I definitely 100% agree with that. Have we done, or do we have any planned work, maintenance, as far as shoulder picking goes? Because as far as when I drive around and walk around and look at a lot of the shoulders and roadways, the grade of the shoulder appears to be a higher elevation in the roadway, which doesn't really allow water to get off, which then causes an alligatoring problem.
That's true.
So do we have plans to do that as well with the micro sealing process?
Yes, we do. The best way to take care of that is grade, and you run that higher edge, and I agree with you. If you don't get that off so that the water can get into the ditch, it's back into the aquifer, then yeah, we're kidding ourselves. But yeah, we're hoping to get that taken care of prior to doing the rest of this work. Thank you for your question. Yes, sir. Sears, I can hear you.
Sid, based on your expertise, with the terrible winters we may have, and I know we can't guarantee snow, let's be optimistic and say we run the snow plows. Is this going to interfere with the surfacing of our roads old or new? That's question one. And two, have you ever seen those brushes used? You know, to be used to plow that only plowed down to about an inch of the snow, rotating brush to get it down to the road surface so we don't damage the road.
Actually, to go to number one, the blades that we use when we're plowing, the plows that we use, they don't have steel blades on them. They have rubber that damage the road. But microsurfacing and a chip seal will actually give you better traction, even if the road is in an icy condition, than if it's not in an icy condition. So, yes, we will be better off, but we won't. There's the hope. Yes. Brushes, yeah, sweeper, I've seen that used for snow on football fields and soccer pitches, but I've never seen it used on a road. I'm not saying they don't, really? Right. It's a good idea. I have never seen it. And Grosse Pointe probably gets a fair amount of snow. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know. Really, as far as road damage is concerned, the biggest culprit, and the two bosses that I had back in Albany used to love to hear the click-clack of tires with studs in them. For them, it was like ka-ching, 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 because that tears up the road faster than anything. That's why they try to get us to get off get those tires off our cars in April 1 or something. And sometimes that's at least an Easter snow, but it melted, so you were safe. So, great questions.
Well, I apologize for the poor audio quality. We're trying to advance the technology here a little bit faster than apparently it's capable of taking us, and that was completely unintended. I was a DJ for a number of years, and sometimes the show must go on, and so that's where we're going. Are there any other questions? And we have a microphone. I think we witnessed what happens when we talk without a microphone there a moment ago.
I would just like to know who it was that was talking.
Okay, that was director Mike D'Angelo. And he is, as I said, he's a roads expert, and we're fortunate to have him on the board to explain the nuances of these different types of systems that are being planned.
It's 2 Caddy Lane. I was just interested to notice we're looking at $1.7 million to do a really robust 10-year plan for our roads. I think this is one of the first times we've ever brought together the roads, the culverts, and everything, and looking at it, you know, so that we know what we're doing. Interested to notice that when Mr. Laus was here, he's talking about fixing up roads at, what, $500,000 per mile, $20 million. It's a bargain.
Richard Walkie, One Canyon Court, and this is a question for Carol, if she's still around.
Right up here.
Oh, okay. Wondering about that 18-month drawdown for the $1.7 million loan. Is there going to be the amount of the actual loan will be determined after that 18 months, because that's what we will, that would be our liability there. Is there any other subsidiary flow, cash flow, to cover the roads maintenance and improvements during that time from our normal operating budget to reduce the potential $1.7 million? In other words, is there a possibility our actual loan liability will be less than 1.7?
The short answer is yes. There are a number of things that could potentially add to it. One would be what we've done is, as I said earlier, in any of our proposals, we always try to give you a very conservative option because we're very worried if things went the other way. So we use 93% collection rate. If we collect at 96, we'll have more income into that account than we would have at 93. Also, if we find that there are contingencies on any kind of project that we do, and a contingency means that we know we have a bid that says it's going to cost this amount of money, but just as when we were doing the culvert out here, we sometimes run into things that we don't anticipate, so there's a little more money, we set aside a contingency. So this is based on adding in the contingency. If we don't need it, we won't need that much for the loan. Also, there are other things that may happen, in other words, to cut the cost, but it will be an option for us to also pay it down faster if we have additional monies here.